Did you come together?
No.
No, you just happened to come in, okay, the same time, so that makes 3. And then maybe for Kate. 1, 2, 3, there's Pam. Hi Pam, can you hear
Hi,
us?
Marianne. Hi.
Elizabeth is here and Brad is here. Okay. Okay.
There's a smudge in the camera.
Is there a smudge in the camera?
Oh, yeah,
Is it a smudge or is it,
a
On the
light,
screen.
yeah, it's
I
right
think
where I
it's a
am.
smudge in the camera. Yeah,
oh, so like on which
I think
side?
it's in the owl.
Oh, it could be in the owl. Okay.
Oh, I see
that's
it, I
right.
see it.
You see it?
But I think it's really,
That must look wild from Zoom.
But we can maybe get it with like an alcohol wipe.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Like, and
it's pretty stuck down.
pretty stuck down there. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Pam, there might be a smudge some of the time as you're watching.
Yeah, look at, I'll
Okay.
blur my face.
Yes, that's for the witness protection program. Um,
Now, I thought this was an online meeting.
so a while back, the trustees decided to have hybrid meetings. And nobody's ever told me we're not having hybrid meetings. So I always post them as hybrid meetings.
Kate had said something that
Yeah.
I first interpreted as it was a Zoom meeting, and then I thought again, I thought, oh, she's coming by Zoom. And
Okay.
She wasn't saying the meeting was by Zoom, but my
Okay.
first impression was. it was Zoom.
Oh, I think I read it that way. I read it was gonna be by Zoom and I thought, okay, that's different, but I'll just do that.
I'm not opposed to them being just by Zoom. If that's what the trustees want. So
Tomorrow's hybrid also.
it is, but tomorrow we're looking at some finishes, so,
And being in person, I was gonna come.
yeah, yes. Yeah,
Right.
tomorrow
I know
there's
it's
a,
hybrid if I can, I come.
right, there's a library building committee meeting tomorrow. So, oh, I can just look at you here and then I'm going to turn my, so, and that we're choosing some finishes tomorrow. But I'll get that in my director report. Should I text Kate?
I was just going.
Okay, I'll let you do it then.
Oh, I have something, good.
Okay. You have something from her?
No, I
Oh,
just found her, I didn't know if I had her number.
okay, all right.
That was out in Santa Barbara. Missed
Yeah.
all the, I came home to all the ice.
Yes.
The funny part-
Yeah.
The funny part was, I had trouble flying home because Dallas was having,
Uh-huh,
and I looked at the Dallas weather. And it said extreme cold, and then I looked at the Shutesbury weather, and we were, 10 degrees colder, and it didn't say extreme cold in Shutesbury.
It's all relative.
There
It
you go.
is, yes. Yeah, this storm was a doozy, like, the ice that piled up overnight. It was supposed to be over, but it just kept
It
doing
was-
whatever it was doing,
By
yeah,
the time I got home, it was
Yeah.
just
yes,
a mess.
yes.
I also was gone,
Yes, you were gone too, yes.
and we came home last night and our garage door was stuck, frozen shut.
Yeah.
Sometimes like,
Yeah.
we don't have a garage.
Yeah,
Our garage is the woods.
yes. We got into our shed for the first day today, so, and the chicken feed is in there, and it was time to either get into the shed or go to town and buy more chicken feed. You know? So, I had, you know, like, we've been giving them, I mean, they've had some feed, and then we give them chicken, like kitchen scraps and stuff, and I even cleaned out the fridge and, you know, but then I was like, all right. And then I cleaned up, we haven't been getting mail, and I got the mailbox cleared enough that we got mail delivered today, so. Anyway,
No response from Kate.
no, all right, well, let's give her
Few more
a few
minutes.
more minutes. We don't have a quorum, without Kate, so, because 4 is a quorum.
So I drove up here in the dark. I couldn't look. I haven't been by in 2 or 3 weeks. I haven't
Oh,
seen
okay.
anything.
Yeah, so, oh yeah, it's, so the glue lamp is all up. So the glue lamp are the roof rafters.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and so those are, they're manufactured beams. They're made in Quebec, and they came like the week of January 18th, I think they were delivered. And so those are all up, and then they're gonna start putting up the roof decking
Wow.
tomorrow. And there are some steel beams, but those are mostly like where the windows are
Yeah,
to hold the weight of the glass.
and we'll see those. We'll
Right,
see the
right.
lumens inside.
Yes, we'll see the glue lamps.
It will look sort of like wood beams.
Yes, yeah, there'll be some exposed wood beams and then exposed wood decking.
Nice.
But then there are gonna be these things called acoustic baffles. So the decking will be wood, like you'll look up and it'll just be wood, and then there's these like foam things that will be, you know, going perpendicular to the roof, and those absorb sound. And then there are acoustic panels on some of the walls too, high up. So it won't be just like flat wood ceiling, the baffles will be there. But it'll still be nice.
We'll see the glue lamp.
Yeah, we'll see the
The
glue lamps.
decking won't be as,
Right, you'll still be able to see
But
the
we'll-
decking.
we'll
It's-
appreciate the,
Yes,
the sound.
yes,
quality.
yeah, I think so, yeah. So it's, you know, and then like all of the spaces are getting pretty defined if you're like walking on the slab, which we did today. And so like you know, you could, the team room is, everything's framed out. So the meeting room is framed out, and you know, there's the electrical room and a storage closet off of the team room. And then I think that's it. And then I think the water service room is off the lobby.
And you can sort of see it when you
Yeah.
walk through.
Yeah, you can see it. And then I asked them today, a couple of trustees have asked me, and a couple of building committee members have asked if they can go see it. And, so they said yes, and they said, why don't we wait like about a month, because the days are getting longer, and what they'll do is they won't lock the gate, and then we can all go after
At like
hours.
5 o'clock or 6.
Yeah, like 5 o'clock, so that we have time before it's dark.
Yeah.
And all the workers aren't there, so we
Yeah.
don't have to worry about interrupting the workflow.
Yeah.
So we'll plan a day at the end, like at the end of March for that. Yeah,
Be fun.
yeah. I'll you texted Kate, didn't hear anything?
You want to try again?
All right, I'll try. And then
And Michelle's definitely not coming.
Michelle's not coming, she couldn't come.
Yeah.
Right, and Mel was sick, she sent an email. Something could happen. So anyway, it's exciting to see those things happening. And then we had a construction meeting today. And so this is like the level of detail that we can get into this meeting. So there's gonna be this little kitchenette it sort of in a depression in one wall of the meeting room. And the walls of the meeting room are gonna be white so that we can put art displays on the walls. And there's gonna be a panel that runs along the walls that's like recessed in that artwork can hang from, and it's just gonna blend in to this thing. And then the kitchen is designed, so it's, oh, good, there's Kate. Okay.
Goodness, everyone, I am so sorry to be late.
That's okay. That's okay.
I
So we
I
have
actually
now,
fell asleep in front of the fire.
oh, oh, you probably needed the rest, so.
Yeah, but did we lose Brad or is Brad there? Okay.
That's-
Hi, Brad. Okay, so we have a quorum. I am very, very sorry. That's just unbelievably rude of me. So, let's come to order. And we're gonna just make sure that we've got everything on the agenda that we need to have. Does anyone have anything else for the agenda?
No,
I
Okay,
am gonna see if I can turn on, AI summary. But,
oh, do we need to,
well, somebody will need to
record?
make minutes, it's being recorded,
okay,
and I don't see. I can't edit the meeting because it's already started, so I was gonna see if I could turn on AI summary. And then we could use that for the minutes, but, oh, start a participant. Did you do that?
yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm late, but I'm not useless entirely.
no, okay, so AI companion. Okay, so this will now take notes?
Yes, and we're recording too, right?
Yes, okay.
Great, thanks. So the first thing on our agenda is to just review Mel's minutes. I had one question. I wasn't at the meeting. But there's one typo where she's got POLL when it needs to be POLE, and I can send that correction. And the other question that I had was whether, so in the Friends of the Library, as extraordinary fundraising summary, congratulations. I'm assuming that trustees will purchase one paver, third bullet, is that right? Okay. Okay, thanks. Did anyone else have any edits, corrections? Okay, well, we're catching up quickly. Next on the agenda is just a report from the director, verbal, obviously, and building committee updates.
Okay. Are you gonna approve the minutes or wait until
Oh.
Mel is? Okay.
We can't approve them until they're edited, and they can't officially be, I mean, I guess we could approve them as edited if y'all are okay with the edits.
I thought that was a simple enough edit. I would be fine with approving them now.
Okay, great. So is that your motion, she said, hopefully?
I move that we approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
I'll-
All right. So we just do this, Brad. Vote, please.
I, Foster, I,
Okay. And Elizabeth
Aye.
and Pam
Aye,
And I say yes too, so thank you. And next is building and director's report.
So, let's see, so a brief director's report. This Saturday is the fire department pancake breakfast, and from 8 to 10:30 a.m. at Shutesbury Elementary School. And I will be bringing the library's Lego collection to keep children entertained. So I did that last year and it was appreciated, so I'll be doing that again. So while at the pancake breakfast, stop by and say hello to the library Lego lady. Let's see. Let's see, so I don't remember when it was exactly, although I just wrote it somewhere, but sometime in the past year, I got a grant from the American Library Association, the ALA Access Grant, Libraries Transforming Communities, All Access Grant, and it's about improving services for neurodivergent teens and tweens and children in town, and really, making sure that the new library is equipped to serve people of all abilities. And so it's getting to the point where that $10,000 grant needs to be fully expended. So I just ordered 4 chairs for the teen room. So teens indicated that they wanted chairs that would feel like cozy and kind of nest-like. And so we found these chairs that are called Rock and Stack. And Elaine Paleo and Molly Moss and I have all sat in them. And what's great about them is that if you look at the teen room floor plan, there are 2 chairs pictured, but these chairs that we ordered stack. So they're just kind of like lounge chairs that are kind of low to the floor. And so I could order 4 and we can keep them stacked as 2 and 2. And then we can pull them apart and have 4 so that if there are more young people around, there are more chairs. And if there are less young people around, there can be less chairs. So that was really fun to order those. And I ordered a couple of tables for the children's room. I ordered a flat screen TV for the teen room. I ordered a couple of iPads and a couple of Chromebooks and cases for the iPads and cases for the Chromebooks. I ordered a button maker because the teens indicated they wanted to be able to make buttons so that they can share their artwork and their messaging. And I got supplies for the button maker. So the button maker came from the American Button Company and it just arrived last week. And so it's going to be fun figuring out how to use it. And so we can make buttons and magnets and keychains. And so that'll be fun. And I'm working on a plan of having, a day where people can make buttons sometime this spring. And then in the new library, it can just be something that is out some of the time, And I bought a bunch of board games and I'm slowly adding those to the collection now. And somehow we'll have room for them. And so we added the first 4 last week and 2 of them have already gone out. And I got a bunch of fidget toys, which I'll wait and we'll put out in the new library and they'll just be there in a basket, in the corner of the teen room and in the corner of the children's room. And library users can just, check them out and fidget with them at will. So that's what we've done. Oh, and then I'm working on ordering. So in the teen room, there's a counter, so there's a built-in millwork counter, where, people could sit at it and do homework or, color or, do whatever one would do at a counter. So I'm gonna get chairs for that. And then we have chairs for one of the tables that I ordered, but chairs for the other table, that'll be in the children's room, with this grant too. So, just comfortable task chairs to sit in. So and that should be, oh, and I'm going to go maybe this week, maybe next week to Downtown Sounds with, Julie Stepanek, who's our local library music expert. And she's gonna help me pick out a guitar, an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar and an amp, because that's what the team said they wanted. So, and I mean, I have no idea how much an electric guitar costs, so I might, come home without one. But she said that we could just go and sort of tell them our budget and they would help us find something. So, and the Forbes Library, well, first of all, I use Downtown Sounds, and the Forbes Library buys their instruments from Downtown Sounds, and Julie buys her instruments from Downtown Sounds. So, and those are the things, in conversation with teens and some of their parents that they said would make the library appealing to them. So it's nice to really be able to focus on that and make it happen. So that's really nice. The other thing, so now we can go to sort of the new library. So the town applied for and was awarded a MVP grant. And this was the grant for that will pay for 90% of the solar panels, plus the original grant was to get a Ford Lightning pickup truck, which could be used for backup power. But then once we started talking to the architect and the electrical engineers about it, we learned that the pickup truck wasn't going to be able to do it. So the MVP folks said that they would consider paying for some backup battery storage. And then I learned that there are batteries that come in their own little freestanding houses that can live outside on a concrete pad. So, so the select board has signed a new contract with the MVP folks, which pays a little bit more money to give us 8 hours during a peak winter day with the heaviest usage of battery power. And then we're working on agreements with National Grid where, some of that battery storage, when it's extra, will go into the grid. And so and originally we talked about having some backup battery storage, and we let that go because we couldn't afford it, and it was more important to be able to just build the library now. And, but now we're gonna build the library and have some battery storage, so that's really great. So the news at the library now is that the framing is continuing. You probably, if you've driven by, you've seen that there are all of the roof rafters are now up. And so those roof rafters are glulam beams, which are a manufactured wood product that came from Canada. And they're going to start putting on the roof decking tomorrow. So the roof is going to have multiple layers, but in most of the library, the roof decking, which is fir, I believe, will be visible from inside the library. So in the community meeting room and in the adult reading room and in the children's room, you'll be able to see the roof decking ceiling. And then there's going to be insulation and a moisture layer and, the metal roof all on top of that. But, so the roof decking is going to start going up tomorrow. The windows are scheduled to be delivered the week of March 10th. Which is, right around the corner. And so that's exciting. So once those windows get delivered and then installed, and then the roof decking should all be on, and then the building will be, enclosed, and that'll be pretty exciting. They put up, I think all of the plywood sheathing is up. I was there today and I was kind of looking at other things. But I think all of the plywood sheathing is up, which is exciting. Tomorrow night, the library building committee has a meeting and they'll be choosing some of the finishes, so they've already chosen flooring. So they'll be choosing, or just reviewing, the cabinets and the countertop for the small kitchenette area. And then the countertops, for the different places where there's millwork, like the circulation desk and that counter I mentioned in the teens room. And there's a counter where the printer and the self-checkout will be. So they'll be reviewing those finishes tomorrow. We've started to look at paint colors. And they may, tomorrow night we'll look at some paint colors. So the folks who go to the construction meetings kind of look at this stuff first. And then we bring it to the big committee. And I would say paint colors aren't really ready for prime time yet. They're the first batch that the architects showed us. Their first, pass. I would say we were underwhelmed. And then we gave,
Were they too bold or too boring? Or neither?
boring is a better, so it was, they were boring. And we, here in Shutesbury, we are not a boring color community. We're a bold color community. I mean, look at Pam's house, right? So, that's what I think of. So anyway, we gave them some, direction, and then they came back today with some, so they bring like an 8x10 color thing. And then we looked at some of those and we said, okay, we're getting better. And then, and so they'll bring, so they'll show some tomorrow, but seeing colors on a computer screen doesn't really look like what it's gonna look like. But we'll keep talking about it, and we'll see if the committee tomorrow night sort of feels the same way that Elaine and I feel. And then we'll, maybe in another month, the committee can look at those full-size sheets of colors. And then before we actually paint anything, they'll actually paint, the walls in each room. They'll do, a few rolls of the brush, so that we can see what it actually looks like in place. And paint color it's not something that, you have to order 8 weeks ahead, or, it's not more expensive if you get a different color. So we can change, at that point. And the other thing I said, Kate, before you came was, so a couple of trustees and some of the library building committee members who haven't been able to be on the site have asked if we can schedule a time for the trustees and the building committee to come out. And the contractor thought it would be good to wait another month, and then, because the days are getting longer, and then come out at, say, 5 PM when there's still daylight, but the work crews have left. And so we can schedule a night maybe at the end of March where we can do that, where everybody can come. So in a couple of weeks, I'll send out a doodle poll to get the best night for everybody. And then everybody can come out, and by then, even more will be done. And it is really pretty exciting to see. So, and then I started to say that these construction meetings can be very detailed. So one of the detail, as they're actually building things and speccing out products and stuff, sometimes they find that they have to do small redesigns on things. So the cabinets on the kitchen doors are going to, they want the kitchen to sort of just blend into the wall and be something that doesn't draw your eyes. So they don't want like knobs on the kitchen doors, and it's gonna be all white. And the way that they're gonna open the kitchen doors is a way that I had never heard of, but it's a press and open, and that's not what it's called, but you press the door and it pops open. And then the latches for the kitchen, for the cabinet doors underneath the sink weren't gonna work up with the way it was designed, because the sink interfered with those latches. So then they explored using a different type of way of opening door, where they cut handholds into thing, the grooves, and then explored that, but that was gonna cost $3,000 to put those handholds in the door. So they found a way to redesign those cabinet doors on the sink, so the latches are down lower. So that they're going back to the original latches. So sometimes we have 20-minute conversations about things like that in those meetings, just very small, little details. And that's the attention to detail that, is being paid to the project. So anyway, it's fun stuff and it's moving along and it's pretty exciting. So.
I wondered
that is-
if Brad, I'm sorry, I wondered if Brad had anything to add or if anyone had any questions.
No, I thought that covered everything I know.
Great. Any questions? This is so exciting. It's definitely worth waking up to hear. Thank you. All right. We're gonna, I think, stay with Marion. I don't know, Marion, whether you and Brad have had a chance to talk about the sort of FinCom, I think it was FinCom meeting and budget implications, but could you just give us a brief overview of the sitch?
Okay, so I don't have any sort of specific details that I brought to Brad as the treasurer yet. But I went to the last finance committee meeting mostly because last year, when the finance committee was doing the budget, there was a mistake in the library budget, and then that ended up being a lot of work to get fixed. And so I want to try and be proactive. So I was, aware that the finance committee meeting was happening, and I said, well, I can, turn that on, you can, like a TV nowadays, and I can listen in and play with my dog at the same time. So I listened in and the finance committee was sharing concerns about budget issues this year. So the health insurance and the school budgets they're anticipating increases. And so what the finance committee usually does is they reach out to the different departments, and the different departments bring them their budgets. And then they, for the most part, because we're all really thoughtful about our budgets, and like the library budget is so small compared to most other department budgets and then the town's budget. But usually there aren't sort of surprises, or you're not told, or we're not gonna be able to do that, but this year they've just started having these conversations, the finance committee, and they're not sure what they're gonna do, but they feel like they may have to make tough decisions. And so they have a meeting, their next meeting is March 4th. Let's see, so March 4th, yeah, I think that's the thing. I plan on just sort of listening in then. And so we have two different things going on. So we have our budget request, which we asked for, we asked to add $1,000 to our library expenses line. And then the town adds in raises. We don't add in raises, and they have added in the 2.9, this year it's 2.95%, I think, is the amount of raises that they added in. So they've added that in, and that's what Gabe who's the interim town administrator, has put into the budget. But I don't know what the finance committee will do. And so that's one piece of it. There's that we asked for $1,000 increase, and the town has added in a 2.95% raise. And so we didn't ask for a major increase. We're required to have a 2.5% increase but of the town appropriated budget, but averaged out over 5 years, and we don't need a very big increase or even an increase at all to meet that. I can go back and look at that math so that I'm sure, but the problem is if we don't increase by 2.5% now, it catches up with you later and you have to increase by 5%, right? So anyway, and again, I don't know what the finance committee might or might not ask of us, but I just wanted us, since I was aware, I thought we should all be aware that they might be asking of things and even if they don't ask something of the library, other people might say, why don't they take it from the library? And, so we should just be aware and, if they have to take anything from anywhere. And then the other piece is, I have said out loud many times that we're building this new library and it will need janitor services. And so I mentioned that to Gabe and then she asked me to write up a list of janitor services. So I asked several local libraries to send me their list of, their sort of schedule of cleaning tasks that their custodians do. And then I made it specific to us and I gave it to Gabe. And we're not gonna really know, like you could say vacuum the floors, but we're not gonna really know how long it takes to vacuum the floors until we're in there because one library is bigger than another library and that, so, but we agreed, she agreed that we could ask to add 4 hours a week to the town hall janitor position. I don't know if she's done that and asked the finance committee for that because I thought she was later on the agenda and I missed that part. And then the piece that I hadn't considered until recently is that this library is gonna really need some dedicated snow removal. That isn't the library director. And her husband or her son or her daughter or her daughter's boyfriend. Or some kind volunteers who just happen to stop by with their shovels. Shoveling it because it's gonna have 2,900 square feet of walkways that need to be shoveled. And so I've started to have that conversation with the town administrator and these two kind of new needs that are usually the type of thing that aren't part of our library's budget. They're more sort of in the town of Shutesbury, those things are in a town facility budget. And that's the most cost-effective way to do it, is to not add it to the library budget. But those are things that have to be planned for so I just, like, we all should be talking about it and you should know that I'm advocating for this and maybe one of you has some great idea. One thing I did do was I called a local landscaper who does shoveling or snow removal for a bunch of businesses down in Amherst. He lives here in town and I just said, this is how much square footage there is. And he said that there's different ways that businesses do it, right? So some of them they pay a lump fee, like we're gonna pay you $5,000 to always come and do the snow removal. And then some pay by the storm, and this guy charges by the storm. And every storm is different. There are storms where you have to do snow removal, but you basically can sweep it away. And there are storms like this last one, where we're still all working on getting rid of the ice. So he said that, his best estimate was $200 to $500 per storm, depending on what you get. If you get 3 inches of snow, it's one thing. If you get a foot of snow, it's another. So I've mentioned to the town administrator. I saw that on tomorrow night's select board agenda, snow removal is an agenda item, so I'm going to zoom into that select board meeting.
Mary,
And
and you're talking about snow removal of the driveway?
no, so the driveway,
Just-
the highway department.
Okay, you're just talking the pathways.
Yes, the sidewalks and the pathways. Yeah, yes,
So it
Yeah.
has to be done by hand or with a snow blower.
right,
It can't be done with a plow truck.
right. Because it's sidewalks and they're not designed to be driven on, you know, so,
And that's why the highway department wouldn't do it, or because it's further in
right.
the library property. Like,
They-
will they do the parking lot?
They'll do the parking lot, they'll do the driveway and the parking lot. And they don't, in the town of Shutesbury, the highway department doesn't. They plow, they don't shovel or snow blow.
Who does like the walkway into town hall?
First person in,
First
or third person in who doesn't wanna walk over the snow.
person. I see.
There isn't a person whose job it is. And so there have been times when, Mary Ann and her husband have shoveled the library and then walked across the street and did town hall. And like a couple of weeks ago on a Sunday, I had a program and there was snow. And I knew that there would be snow, and so I got here early to shovel just a small back, you know, I didn't shovel the front, but I shoveled the back. So people could get in for the
I
program.
assume school has this issue too,
Well, the school has,
Custodian.
full-time, they have two full-time
and they
custodians.
do the outside walkways.
They do the outside walkways, yeah. So I don't know what they do. Yeah, well, like at the fire station, it's, they probably plow it all,
Yeah,
you
they
know, because they don't really have a walkway. And so it's just a thing that I hadn't sort of fully considered until now, and it's conversations that are happening. And so when we talk about sort of janitor services or snow sort of falls under maintenance, we haven't had those things as part of the library budget, and a lot of libraries don't have their janitor services are part of sort of their, like in many small towns like us. The janitor is also the town hall janitor, and they do a certain number of weeks at town hall and a certain number of weeks at the library, and it's part of the town hall, sort of town facilities custodial budget. And it's not part of the library budget, and if you add something like that to the library budget, then the library's budget goes up. And to maintain our certification from the state, our budget has to go up by 2.5% every year. And then we're required to spend 20% of our appropriated budget on materials. So say if we add $4,000 a year to the library budget for custodian services, then I need 20% of $4,000 extra, which is $800.
That sounds right.
Oh, good. I did that really fast. Extra for new materials for the library. And then next year, our budget needs to go up by another 2.5% of that extra $4,000. So, and now can I spend $800 extra on materials? Yes, but somebody has to give it to me, the $800, right? So, and is $800 less on materials enough? Yeah, you know, so I think fiscally for the town, it makes more sense to keep it part of a town facilities budget.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
the janitor for the town already working 40 hours?
Oh, no, the janitor for the town works 8 to 12 hours.
Okay.
And before COVID, he came over to the library more often, and then, because he would maintain the composting toilet, and then he would vacuum or sweep over there, and then he would do the trash, and then he'd like change his light bulbs. And since COVID, well, we closed the composting toilet, and then we've just like, we never got back into a habit. He wasn't coming over and cleaning because we weren't going into each other's spaces.
Yeah.
And then we've never gotten back into a habit of him coming to the library to do cleaning. He does do light bulbs, yeah, so, do you have a question, Kate?
You're on mute.
Oh, you're muted, Kate.
Thanks. I'm already over my yearly limit. It's only February. You're muted, Kate. So a couple things. I don't know this for sure, but it seems to me that the library is likely to be a much higher foot traffic inside and out than town hall. And I wonder whether a couple of Roombas might be a really good idea, just so that there's not, the floors are maintained in between custodial visits. And then I do think that maybe buying a snow blower for the library might be a good idea. I don't know how to think about what you're talking about in terms of janitorial services and what, needing more of those. But I do think that while we're raising money for essentials, these might be a few. I can't remember, is anywhere carpeted in the library?
The adult room is carpeted. And I was definitely planning to get a Roomba, and to set it free every night, because that will help keep the floors clean, and it's gonna be all one level, and so it should be pretty easy to let one Roomba do the trick, I would think. The thing about a snow blower is, I don't know where we would keep it.
Well, because they had to ditch the shed, didn't we?
Right, right.
Okay.
The outdoor storage, yes,
The
Yeah.
other thing for me with equipment like that is it needs to be maintained.
right,
And I mean, it reminds me of when I deal with sound in concerts. I hire sound people who bring equipment because I don't want to maintain it.
right,
And it might be the same with, if we hired someone to do snow shoveling,
right,
they might have the equipment to do it.
right, right.
Yeah.
So I think I'll definitely plan on going to that select board meeting tomorrow to listen to and take part in that conversation if they are entertaining comments from, people outside the select board. Because I think snow shoveling or snow removal at town hall is also a topic. We're sort of a town of do it ourselfers, but that only works some of the time, and it's not, and the town wanted this new library, and we, we've worked very hard to build it, and we want it to be accessible to people, and it may be that so there's 2,900 square feet of walkways to each of the different egresses. And it may be that we don't have to shovel to each of those egresses all winter long. But we would certainly want to keep, two. And so that might, cut back on it, but it's just a conversation that needs to happen, before next November.
There
There
might
needs to
be
be a plan.
Fire safety
Right,
issues that determine how many.
right,
Yeah.
right, yes, yeah. So that's, another thing I've been spending time doing. So I'll go and then I'll report back at the next meeting, and I can send, if there's anything sort of, especially important, I'll send out an email in the interim.
Can I ask a question? Would you like, I can't do it, so I'm a little reticent to even ask, but do you need any trustee support at that meeting tomorrow?
I don't think it would hurt. I think sometimes I sometimes I think it's good if it's not just me, if if there are other people, so that everybody just remembers that it's not me we're talking about, it's the library that we're talking about. So, so it's
Time is it?
select board is probably at 5 or 5:30. I'll look it up.
No, it's earlier than I thought I might be able to do it.
Are you looking it up? Let's see.
You want me to?
I'm almost there.
Okay.
Almost there. Let's see. It starts at 5. And then. So they don't put, so starting at 5:15, they have general business. And they have 8 different topics under that, and snow shoveling is number 5. So,
Could be anytime.
yeah, it could be any time. And and like I went to the finance committee meeting and the town administrator was almost done. And, because sometimes agendas get shuffled around depending on who's there and things, and that's fine. So, so anytime from 5:15 to probably 6:15, I would say, is possible.
Okay, well, I could send an email to trustees with just putting out a request. I don't know if Elizabeth, I don't know if you could let a couple of friends know. Because that would also maybe be really good.
Sure, no problem.
Awesome.
I can,
Thanks.
I can most likely join tomorrow. I don't see anything on my schedule, so.
Great. And then, well, yeah, that's good. That's very good. Yes, good. That should be helpful.
Okay. Moving on through, the last thing that I had was scheduling a meeting early in March to discuss naming opportunities. So, of the many spaces in the new library, there's going to be obviously the Marianne Antonellis Director's Office and things like, oh, you watch, and but naming opportunities.
$1,000 so that it can't be bought. Okay, there are like at least a half dozen papers with my name on them. That's enough. So.
That's lovely. That's
It is
lovely.
lovely. Yes, okay.
So, and I think the building committee are kind of eager to get, I don't, trustee input or, but Michelle really wanted to be part of that conversation, which makes a lot of sense, I think. So we're not going to have it this evening. We're going to have it at a March meeting that we will have early. So what's just seeing who might be available to attend March 3rd?
That works for me.
Okay with me.
I think I can do it. That's next.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, then I'll send an email to this group, the whole trustees group, and see if anybody can't make it. But we should at least have a quorum. Michelle said any Monday in March was okay with her, so. So there's a couple of next steps for me to do after this. But yeah, if we could post that, I think if something goes haywire, we can reconsider, but maybe we'll just default to that for now.
What time are we talking, Kate?
I think our usual time works for
Sure.
us. Is that okay with folks?
Sure.
Okay.
Then another hybrid meeting. Always hybrid unless stated otherwise.
I'm having a little trouble understanding Brad.
Yeah,
It will be a hybrid meeting.
Do you want it to be hybrid or just on Zoom?
Yeah, I realize that at this point I default to Zoom only for everything. But it's not my call. It's Marianne, you're the one I think doing the work to set the room up, first of all, and then what trustees prefer.
Right, so what do you prefer coming in person?
I do.
You do? Okay,
I always come in person.
okay, all right, then we'll just do hybrid, okay,
It
That's-
matters more to me with the stuff we talk about in the building committee.
right,
There are things to look at.
right,
Um,
Right.
I could go either way here. There have been times when I was too tired to
right,
come on up.
yes,
I feel for this meeting, if more of us were electing to be Zoom, it starts becoming easier just to have everybody on Zoom.
you
I
mean
Yeah.
think
trustees, yes,
Trustees,
Yes.
there's a tipping point
right,
when it's just easier.
yes,
And I'm happy to go either way on that way.
Me too. You just may hear more crying if I'm on Zoom, because 7:30 is prime time for crying at my house.
Excellent. I will happy to give you a permission slip out of that. All right.
We very slightly remember that, you know? like,
Yeah. Yeah.
You probably remember a little better, Kate, because Vanessa's younger than, you know, those memories fade, you know?
remember.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I think unless I hear any objection, we'll adjourn. And I'll send an email to trustees with the new date for March and the opportunity to attend the select board meeting. Woo.
Okay, and I'll just post it for March 3rd, and then I can always, okay, and I'll post it as hybrid, okay. Okay,
Good. And
Fantastic.
then will we meet again in March later to discuss normal business, or is this gonna be our March meeting?
Well, maybe Michelle and I can look at the agenda. I mean, how many spaces are there to name?
well, more than you might think. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
Okay. Well,
yeah,
maybe we can do, maybe we can skip minutes. And we just got an extensive director's report and building update, so maybe this is our meeting and we just meet again in April. Does that sound okay?
Okay.
unless the finance committee needs trustee input after that meeting that I go to on Tuesday, unless, you know,
Okay,
yeah.
well, we
so-
can decide that then, I
Yeah,
think, that'll be
right.
fine. Okay,
Okay. Yep,
Do we have to, vote on adjournment? Or do we just?
no, I just get to do
Yeah,
it.
okay, that's fine.
All right, I really, again, apologize, but thank you all for waiting for me and for being so efficient so that we still ended on time. I appreciate you all, thank you.
thanks, Kate. All right, all right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.